Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mother, hold our hand, take us from unreal to real, take us from darkness of ignorance to wisdom of light, take us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. With the salutation to the Mother of the universe, with the Guru Devas, I welcome all of you, and we pray to the Mother, to the Divine Father of the universe, the Mother of the universe, the Jagat Janani, the Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, all the Guru Devas of all religion, to bless us this so that we could attain the human excellence in this life alone. We have 21st, the Sunday after this Sunday, 21st of July will be Guru Purnima. We shall be talking about all the Gurus. In the meanwhile, we shall prepare ourselves with what is this human excellence. In the talk in the Guru Purnima, we shall focus on the Guru Devas of the most of the important Gurus of the universe and Gurus of those who are of the Hindu and Jainism, Sikhism, and all the religions which are famous in India. In human excellence, a question came about. A senior monk, he is himself narrating, and those of you who have been listening, his name is Swami Sarva Priyananda. He is the head of the Vedanta ashram in New York, Manhattan. And he is talking about, he was then a budding monk, and they had to do the service with all the devotees and all the bhaktas. They have a huge cauldron of rice, and from there they take out rice into the bucket and take the bucket and give it to the people and the devotees, everybody sitting on the floor. And most important at that time is, as Sarvapriyananda Swamiji is explaining, it was very humid, sweating away to glory, and temperature was very high, 40, 45 degrees centigrade. So it occurred to Swami Sarvapriyananda as he was taking it, the bucket, and taking it out and giving it to everybody with a smile. And he was thinking, is this really why I became a monk? In the words of Swami Sarvapriyananda, he said, no, I didn't become monk to do this, to serve the people in this hot summer, sweating away to glory, the utter discomfort. And he himself is saying, flash came from inside, a message. Okay, who's asked you to be a monk? Go ahead, leave. Don't have to be a monk. Leave this ashram. Go out. And immediately Sarvapriyananda says, my inner consciousness immediately rose to say, that was my mind which was playing along and trying to avoid a little bit of discomfort. I am here to march to attain that perfection and give the message to the worldwide of the how can you and I become excellent in human being as a human. Swami Vivekananda is telling that the purpose of the human life is to attain human excellence, the divinity within. The goal of human life is to manifest the divinity already present within all of us. That's the goal of mankind. Either you do it through religion or spirituality. Religion is practicing through various bhakti yoga and etc. etc. Spirituality, so the four yogic practices, as Vivekananda puts it, karma yoga, work selflessly for the people of the world without expecting any result. Bhakti Yoga, love God, pick up a relationship as a boy, as a son, as a daughter, as a master, as a mother, as a father, as a friend, as a sakha bhav, as a son, putra, and like that you enjoy the relationship, bhakti yoga. Or like Mirabai, as a lover of Krishna, or the gopis. And through Raja Yoga, practice through Patanjali, Ashtam, Yoga, Liyang, Ashtanga Yoga, follow them with the strict disciplines of the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Or to the Jnana Yoga. So the Jnana Yoga completely understand what is meant by divinity within. What exactly is the divinity within? See, the twin aspect, the double aspect of the paradigm shift came only because we put ourselves with a name, Robbin Ghosh, and a form. And the moment I put a name in the body, into this body, I become separate from you and everybody else in this world. And I bring in three problems with mine called the limitations. Desha, Kala, Vastu. Space. I am not there with you. You are not here. We are separate by space. Kala, Samay, time. I cannot be at that time and this time at the same time. At the epitaph of a mortuary, of a graveyard, you will see 1908 to 2010. Somebody lived 102 years. To beginning and an end. This is the Kala. And Vastu, very important concept of Vastu limitation. The moment we call ourselves with a body and a name and a form, this computer cannot be, this mobile cannot be that glass. The clock cannot be the computer. Vastu, clock, Vastu, object cannot be another object. It is limited only to that object. You and I and objectified our body and we say, this is who I am. And I am not. And we are limited by name, form, function, mind, intellect, memory, ego. We separate ourselves. In this divinity of the separation, we are looking that there is a duality. God is out there up in the sky, in the temple, in the mosque or the church, and I am here. I am small and tiny, and God is infinitely powerful and big and huge and, created this universe, and I am such a small, and I'm totally dependent. Duality. And there is another form of the duality. The moment you go into the Jnana Yoga, say, I am a body, mind, name, form, function, and I have the consciousness which is within, which is the, as per Mandakya Upanishad, is the supreme Atman, consciousness within, Chit, Chetana. But there is duality in that also. In how is that duality? Mind, body, form, function is one and Chetana is another. God is Chetana and Chetana is powering the mind, body, form, but that's also dual. Duality. And this trouble came about from one Mr. Gentleman, Buddha, 2500 years ago. And it continued thereafter. We said very straight, there is no Atman, no soul, no spirit. So there is no Atman as per Buddha. And intense logic and debate carried on between Hinduism and Buddhism. And the Buddha said in so many words, not really, he did not use the word like you Hindus, but he said it in meaning in that you all think there is Atman, there is no Atman. And he proved it to the world that this duality in this world can exist with absolutely the same thing with consciousness, without consciousness. This samsara can exist, this transmigration from birth to death to birth, from memory, and everything else becomes possible without somebody called Atman. So this is Buddha's argument to say. And subsequently came Shankaracharya about 1500 years ago. And Buddhists at that time were prevailing till Shankaracharya came across and brought again back into through the Vedanta, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita back into Hinduism. And slowly Buddhism retreated to Tibet and Tibetan area and spread over to Japan and China and Thailand and those places in this area. And India once again became a strong Hindu state. While understanding all this, I want you to think about that most people today, young people, are suffering away. And they're saying, what do you do when you're feeling alone, when you're lonely, when you're depressed? All these things still sounds too theoretical. What do you do when you have doubts and nobody there to talk to and nobody understands what problem you have? Nobody does understand the problem that I have to face and I have to solve. So the answer to this question came about very simply and beautifully. That, think for a second, everybody is wanting to go to heaven. But tell me something, has anybody given you a proof that this is not heaven? Has anybody showed it to you? This earth is not heaven, other than talking. Any proof? And those people who wanting to go to heaven, without meaning to identify or point at anyone, people have made this earth a hell, and now they want to leave this hell earth and go to heaven. Whoever said that this earth is not heaven, make it here. This earth is heaven. This place, your family, your samsara. This is what Vivekananda said. Those who run up to the mountain Himalaya and renounce the samsara and said, I'm going to take God's name, meditate and merge with God in this Himalayan cave, they have missed the boat. They missed the journey. And those who plunge in headlong in the samsara and say, I am going to be samsari and find pleasures through becoming what? Half alive. Becoming absolutely infested with desire. The moment you're half alive, you're filled with desires and headlong merge into the samsara, into the absolute, this illusion of samsara. They too have missed the boat. So going on to the mountain as per Vivekananda or living in the samsara is both miss the boat. Then what is the answer? What is the answer of this young girl or the boy who's asking, how do I suffer? How do I find the answer for my problem? Answer is not complicated. And Vivekananda says it so simply and powerfully. He said, divinize your life. Divinize your life. Whatever you're doing, establish truth, establish purity, establish service for other people. Say, most of us are importantly interested only, what about me, this guy? And this is where the answer of the young girl or the boy who's asking, what do I do when I'm suffering from this problem and the issues and the question and relationship problem, money problem, job problem, and health problem? I'm alone. You are never alone. It's the essence of the message of the Vedanta. Now getting back to the essence of Vedanta. No dualism of the Mandukya Upanishad, which is eventually goes on to that singularity of Advaita Vedanta. But in the Dvaita, apparently Dvaita, There is Chetana, there is waking, dreaming, deep sleep. Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, and Turiya. This is Pandakya Upanishad. They're saying fourth stage. And Turiya is the one which is powering everything. But this also duality. Also duality. God is in the temple, heaven, and mosque and the church, and we are here helpless people. No. The point is no. Why is the people suffering and this? You feel alienated, isolated, because you give yourself a name and isolate yourself from the universe. Look at it. The moment you isolate yourself from the universe, you're a separate being. And the moment you're a separate being, you have to take care of your own self. It is a foolish mistake to separate the universe from you. Because even if you think with your mind and with your intellect, you are not separate. Even in the worst of the time, think for a second. Aren't you breathing? Aren't you looking at things and hearing and feeling and touching this universe around? How can you be separate from the universe? Your body cannot run even a fraction of a second without this nature, universe running your body. Nature has created this life forms on this earth with two platforms. One is the beginning, called the birth, and second is called the end, called the death. Birth to death. All life forms are the birth to death, excepting humanity. How? Think for a second. What is creating problem for this young girl or the young boy or the adult, young adult? Relationship problem, money problem, job problem, body health problem. What is creating the problem? It is not the universe, the nature. It is the cutting edge of the intellect of thinking, worrying, and the mind. Mind and the cutting intellect are the two sharpest instrument human brain has developed over millions of years, from a tiny amoeba brain to worm brain to a huge gigantic human brain. We have the two deepest of the gift. One is the memory and second is the intellect. And we are utilizing both of them as young man, woman and the adult is to dissect ourselves, and we are becoming bloody and suffering from it. Think for a second, which is why we are making this as a hell and not a heaven. Heaven is peaceful state of mind. When are you and I going to learn how to manage this body, how to manage this mind, how to manage this memory, how to manage this intellect? When? 60, 70, 80 years of age? Isn't this a parody? And spend the rest of the life just struggling, suffering. Unfortunately, education system and our life and parental training system is not taking care other than intellect and memory. Look at all education system today. School, colleges, kindergartens to universities to PhDs is intellect and memory. Think of any education which is not either one of these two and combination of the both. Nobody is teaching us this inside, which is the mind, the memory, the intellect, the ego, and the feeling. How to manage there, which is yoga, chitta duksha vritti nirodha. And you realize that through the jnana yoga, you are not separate from the universe. You and everything else is one Chaitana consciousness. Separate body, separate name, separate body, gender, forms, function, country, region, but only one consciousness. And the moment you do that, you remember Shankaracharya, very famous sloka. Mano buddhi chitta ahankar na aham. Chidananda rupoham. Shivoham Shivoham. Mano, mind. Buddhi, intellect. Chitta, memory. Ahankar, ego. Na aham. I'm not them. I am the Shiva. I am the Shiva. The moment you start seeing in your mother, in your father, in your teachers, in your wife, in your husband, in your children, in your servant, maidservants, and every living form, that Shiva, the divine mother and the Shiva, or the Krishna, or the Jesus Christ, or the Allah, how can you be separating them? You are one. And even if you do, you respect them with Shraddha. You make the whole universe as one. Look at it carefully. A simple analogy. You cannot teach an apple seed how to produce apple. Nor do you teach an apple seed, don't produce mangoes and jackfruits. Apple seed will produce apple. Why? It is driven by nature. You cannot teach a tiger cub, given correct food, right food, whatever the food tiger is supposed to eat, don't grow up like a tiger. Grow up like a giraffe or an elephant or something. You can't. Tiger cub will grow up to be a good tiger if it given the good food and the right ambience. Correct? Now look at it. Can a human child be given good food and the right environment without giving data and education and character development? A good human being? No, it will only grow up. But if it grows up into this little house without any mom, dad, grandparent, teachers, no data, it'll become like vegetable, wouldn't know anything. And if that human child is growing up in the jungle, will become like Mowgli or Tarzan, isn't it? And if the child is growing up with insufficient data in your maidservant's home, will become a coolie, driver, maidservant, or a loader. And if the child is growing up, be careful in yours and my home. If you don't give the right data, will become like you or me. And land up with growing with problems of what do I do when I have this suffering and that relationship problem. We don't know how to deal with it. So separating yourself from this universe is the mistake. And that universe and your Chaitanya consciousness is just one. So what do? Punchline for today, and we'll discuss it on Sunday. Your mind without the consciousness, Chaitanya, extremely powerful, but utilize it, learn to use it as a young guy, as growing up adult, or as a middle-aged or an old person. Remember from the past not the miserable things and feel bad from the past to present terrible. I feel terrible right now by thinking about terrible things of the past, no? And we tend to always think about bad things. Remember good things, happy things, even if it is forcibly, even if it is toughest of your time. And feel happy, joyful, even if you're acting. Just do this and try it. Have a smile in your face. In the toughest of the time, good time, very good, smile. The past, good memory, remember and feel happy and joyful. And now, project into the future the power of that wisdom by dreaming, by visualizing into that consciousness, Chaitanya, which is your future, and make the dreams come true. Dream big, dream wild. Tell me one person in this universe that you know, whoever became a great personality unless they had a vision or a dream. Isn't it? Wright brothers flew because they visualized flying. Henry Ford drove a car because they thought about a car. Or look at India's independence. Right from Vivekananda, he forecasted 50 years before independence, India will be independent at 50 years from today. 1902, he forecasted 1900 to 1902. Exact date I don't know, around that time. And 1947 we got the independence. Somewhere that 50 years of time. Bapu Gandhi, visualize independence. And you have got abundance of examples over here. So visualize. So change this paradigm of suffering and sickness and disease by not isolating yourself. Make yourself one. How do you separate yourself? By putting a name, form, gender, function. I am separate. How do you make one yourself? That Advaita. Advaita is consciousness alone. I see divinity in everyone. This is what it means that express the divinity from within in every walk of life. Swami Vivekananda's word. The purpose of human life is to, goal of human life is to manifest that divinity which is already within us and express it in every walk of life. Make every situation with your personal help. Help the people and make it a divine place. And for which, yes, you have to be detached, you have to be selfless. And you know what? If you want something in your life, give it first. If you want knowledge, jnanam danena vardhate. If you want love, give love. Automatically it will come back to you million times more. What about money? Don't laugh, give it first. Give the money, money will come back to you. Jai Guru, let's have some great time on this Sunday and looking forward for the Guru Purnima. Jai Guru.